Hi, I've got the events from British history that occurred on this day. There's nothing particularly exciting happened over the years, and there's a big gap as well. In 1066, which was, of course, the big Battle of Hastings, that year the death of Edward the Confessor, the last Anglo-Saxon king of England. He was called the Confessor because of his great piety. He died childless, sparking a succession crisis that led to the Norman conquest. In 1531, Pope Clemens VII forbade English King Henry VIII to remarry, and that event led to the creation of the Church of England. In 1906, there's the big jump from 15 to 19, Kathleen Kenyon, British archaeologist, was born. She used radiocarbon dating to date the remains of Jericho. In 1922, Sir Ernest Shackleton, British Antarctic explorer, died of a heart attack off South Georgia. At his wife's request, he was buried there. It was his fourth expedition, aimed at circumnavigating the Antarctic, in which he described as the one remaining object of Antarctic journeying, the crossing of the continent from sea to sea via the pole. Must have been a very cold trip, I think. In 1938, the BBC began broadcasting Bandwagon, its first radio comedy series with Arthur Askey and Richard Stinker Murdoch. Those are names to conjure with after all these years. In 1941, Amy Johnson, record-breaking English navigator and aviator, died while flying an aircraft from Blackpool to Kidlington, Oxfordshire, in foggy conditions as her role in the Air Transport Auxiliary that ferried new, repaired and damaged military aircraft between UK departments. Her plane was found 100 miles off course in the muddy water of the Thames, but her body was never recovered. Reportedly out of fuel, she had been seen alive in the water, but a rescue attempt failed, and the incident also led to the death of her would-be rescuer, Lieutenant Commander Walter Fletcher. Amy Johnson was one of the world's great aviators. She was the first woman to fly solo from Britain to Australia in 1930, and she also set numerous long-distance records during the 1930s. In 1960, the last journey of the Mumbles Railway, the oldest in the world. It was set up in 1804 as a goods railway running from Swansea to Mumbles Head, Wales, and began carrying passengers in 1807. The railway still holds the record for the highest number of forms of traction of any railway in the world: horse-drawn, sail power, steam power, electric power, petrol and diesel. In 1971, this one interested me, one-day cricket was born, when 46,000 turned up to watch England play Australia in Melbourne. The test match had been rained off for several days previously. Australia won by 5 wickets with 42 balls remaining. 1976, the Kingsmill massacre in County Armagh, Northern Ireland. 10 people were killed and 1 was wounded in what was believed to be a revenge killing after the murder of 5 Catholics. The Historical Inquiries team found that the Provisional IRA members were responsible. In 1981, Peter Sutcliffe, a 35-year-old lorry driver from Bradford, suspected of carrying out 13 murders across West Yorkshire over a period of 5 years, was formally charged in court. And in 1993, the oil tanker Braer, it's a strange one, B-R-A-E-R, was wrecked in hurricane-force winds off the Shetland Islands, discharging large amounts of crude oil. In 2001, a report funded by the Department of Health found that the convicted serial killer, former GP Harold Shipman, may have killed in excess of 300 of his patients. I didn't realise it was quite that many. In 2013, the death in Wirksworth, Derbyshire, of Britain's oldest man, Reg Dean, aged 110 years and 63 days. He was a former church minister and lived through 2 world wars and 24 British prime ministers. Well, he definitely had his day, didn't he? 110.
Ah, you aren't far off, huh?
Oh dear, now look, you're at it again. There'll be another clip round the ear if you're not very careful. I just don't know where we're going to come from. Now we've got Clarence Frogman Henry, but I do. You might not either.